Good morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is English Bulletin with me, Yutsab Bhadrai. The top stories first. Government evacuates 175 Nepalese nationals from China, 6 Nepalese barred from returning home. Prime Minister Oli completes 2 years in office, says government to focus on long-term projects. More than a decade passed since the Maoist insurgency ended, conflict victims still seeking justice. US and Taliban agree to truce, new understanding likely to create lasting peace. And Magh crowned A-Division champion, wins the title for the first time. The government has finally evacuated Nepalese nationals from Hubei province of China, which is reeling under coronavirus epidemic. An aircraft carrying 175 Nepali nationals returned from China today morning. The Airbus A330 wide-body aircraft landed at Trivandrum International Airport at around 4 a.m. this morning. Those returning from China included 170 students and 5 other visitors. Out of 185 applicants, 4 decided to stay back, whereas 6 were barred from boarding the aircraft after failing health checkup at the airport. Those 6 had high body temperature while examining, informed a Beijing-based embassy of Nepal. The returnees were screened at the Kathmandu's airport upon arrival and were then escorted to Karibati-based quarantine center in 5 buses. The government evacuated its citizen from China more than 1.5 months after the viral infection was first reported in Hubei province. The Chinese government had imposed a lockdown on several cities of the province, including Wuhan, where the disease is believed to have originated, to prevent the spread of the outbreak. This had prevented the Nepali nationals from returning home. The families of the students and other Nepalese stranded in China had been demanding their prompt return since a long time. Prime Minister KP Oli said yesterday that the government will now focus on realizing its dream of ruling party enjoyed a 2/3 majority in parliament. The main slogan of the current government is Happy Nepali, Prosperous Nepal, which Oli said they will try to achieve in the remaining 3 years in office.
गत वर्ष आजकै दिन मैले भनेको थिएँ यो वर्ष हामीले आधार खडा गरेका छौँ। आउँदा वर्षहरू उपलब्धिका वर्षहरू हुनेछ। 5 वर्षको कार्यकाल पूरा गरेर अर्को आम निर्वाचनमा जाँदा घोषणा पत्र मार्फत हामीले व्यक्त गरेका प्रतिबद्धताहरू पूरा गर्यौँ भनेर हामी भन्नेछौँ। त्यसबेला तपाईँ हामीले देख्ने सपना अर्कै हुनेछ।
Oli claimed that the government had achieved success in financial management, adjustment of employees and has been working as per the aspirations of the people. Presenting different facts and figures during his speech, Oli said Nepal falls under the top 10 countries achieving high economic growth rate.
जनता आवास तथा सुरक्षित बस्ती विकास कार्यक्रम, श्रमिक वर्गको न्यूनतम ज्यालामा भएको वृद्धि, स्वास्थ्य बीमा र सामाजिक सुरक्षा कार्यक्रमको विस्तारले न्यून आय भएका जनतालाई थप राहत पुगेको छ। गरिबी घटाउन सहयोग पुगेको छ। रोजगारीको अवसर बढेको छ। यसबाट उत्पादकत्व वृद्धिमा मात्रै मद्दत पुगेको होइन, समग्रमा आर्थिक असमानता नै घटेको छ।
Prime Minister Oli claimed that the people living in abject poverty has reduced by 16.5%, trade deficit has fallen by 6.1%, and 6 kilometers of road are being blacktopped every day in the country. He also informed that the country has started generating 1,246 megawatts of electricity, which has effectively ended power cuts. He added that Nepal has also started exploring electricity. The Prime Minister also also said that the government has given high priority to airport management while it has expanded 4G service to all districts. He added that the country has already reconstructed 3,74,000 houses destroyed by the earthquake of 2015. Another achievement of the government, according to Oli, is the inclusion of 10 million people in its social security scheme. Prime Minister Oli also said that the government will not remain silent on corruption cases. Opposition parties have termed Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's address to the House of Representatives a pretense to cover to its controversial decisions. Soon after the Prime Minister's address yesterday, lawmakers asked a barrage of questions on the government's official stance regarding the MCC grant as well as the Land of Nepal Trust given on lease to Yeti Holdings. They also raised the issue of 33% representation of women in the Council of Ministers and the border encroachment dispute. Speaking with reporters after the House meeting, President of the main opposition party, Sher Bahadur Deuba, claimed that the government has not even carried out 2 useful works in 2 years in office. Meanwhile, coordinator of Samajwadi Party, Baburam Bhattarai, said that the government has failed to live up to the expectations of the people. RJPN leader Rajendra Mohat said that the government has not been able to understand the people's aspirations, while the Prime Minister has been making comments out of the constitutional norms. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break.
It's time for United Cements Break.
हरेक निर्माण सामग्रीको महत्त्व दर्शाउँदै
The Law House. The meeting of the House of the Representatives yesterday unanimously passed amendment to Education Bill regarding some Nepali Acts 2020 presented by the Chairman of Education and Health Committee, Jaipuri Kharti. Similarly, Second Amendment to the Law, Justice and Human Rights Committee Bill presented by Minister for Law and Health and Population, Bhanubhakta Dahal, has also been unanimously passed. The next meeting of the House of the Representatives is scheduled for 18th February, this Tuesday. The decade-long Maoist insurgency started on February 13, 1996 with the attack on Holeri police station of Rolpa. Although more than a decade has passed after the peace accord was signed, the dreams of conflict victims in Rolpa have been just limited to dreams. Most of the women from Runtigadi rural municipality of Rolpa lost their husbands and children in the 10 years long insurgency period. Tulsi Bika, who lost her husband during the insurgency, said the government did provide 1 million rupees to her family as compensation. Children have, however, grown up and want to pursue higher studies, and that million rupees finished long ago in household expenses. Tulsi Bika said. Another victim, Dil Bahadur Pun, expressed his disappointments towards the leaders. The leaders have forgotten the sacrifice of Rolpa's sons and daughters once they attained power, Pun lamented.
$10 लाख त दियो तर त्यो भन्दा अरु सहयोग छैन अब केटाकेटी अब त्यो 10 लाखले त सबै पुग्ने कुरा त होइन नि बाउै गुमिसकेपछि त हेर्दिन पर्यो छोराछोरीलाई पढ्न लेख्नमा अलिकति चासो दिन पर्यो
हेर्नुस् न त्यतिखेर मर्ने मरियो हर्ने हरिगे अब विपद त हुने भए अब उनीहरु अन्तिममा सत्तामा पुगे उनले मौज भयो कि हामीले दुखी गरेपछि मौज भयो
People of Rolpa, who had a dreadful past and have closely seen the 10 years long insurgency, fear another war as the leaders have forgotten their promise of equality and prosperity. Meanwhile, Minister and former Maoist leader Barshaman Poon acknowledged the people's war for unity of class, caste and region. 161 people in Rolpa alone lost their lives during the decade-long Maoist insurgency. 33 people have disappeared and 3,138 complaints in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has been filed, as well as 126 complaints that are filed in the Commission for the investigation of enforced disappearance person. The government, however, has ignored the investigations in these cases. And now the news from economic front. Technologies produced in Nepal have been promoted in the Can Infotech 2020 organized by Computer Association Nepal, Can Federation, beginning from Saturday. The Infotech is scheduled to end on 19th February and has given priority to the advancement of Nepali technologies, informed the president of Can, Nawaraj Kuwar. President Kuwar informed Can Infotech and the Can overall aims to encourage softwares made in Nepal to benefit the education and other sectors. Can has made this year's expo absolutely paper-free. The expo hosts more than 185 stalls associated to innovation and startups from the individuals as well as organizations to promote new ideas and products. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news.
It's time for United Cements Break.
हरेक निर्माण सामग्रीको महत्त्व दर्शाउँदै युनाइटेड सिमेन्ट्स अब जुट्ने बेला हो।
तिमी हँस यो मन हँस।
According to the news agency, the peace deal would call for negotiations between Afghans or both sides of the conflict to start next month, an eventful countrywide ceasefire, and a commitment from the Taliban not to harbor terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda while setting a timetable for the withdrawal of US troops. The truce marks a milestone in efforts to end America's longest-running conflict and fulfill President Donald Trump's campaign pledge to bring US troop homes from foreign conflicts. But prospects for a real and lasting peace remain unclear. The US officials said the agreement for a 7-day reduction in violence is very specific and covers the entire country, including Afghan government forces. There were indications a formal announcement could come as early as the weekend. The official said the Taliban had committed to a half-in roadside and suicide bombings as well as rocket attacks. If the Taliban upholds their commitments, a US-Taliban peace agreement would be signed within 10 days. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Machindra FC has clinched its maiden title of the A-Division League after defeating Dhruvan Army Club 1-0 yesterday. An all-goal in the 33rd minute of the game at Dashrath Stadium was enough for Machindra to secure its first league title. Vikas Tamang of TAC scored an own goal in an attempt to clear a free kick. Machindra won the title despite a point deduction for languishing in the bottom two during last season. However, Army failed to capitalize on such a good change. Machindra finished top of the table with 31 points from 13 matches, while Army finished second with 29 points. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin, and the headlines once again. Government evacuates 175 Nepali nationals from China, 6 Nepalese barred from returning home. Prime Minister Oli completes 2 years in office, says government to focus on long-term projects. More than a decade has passed since the Maoist insurgency ended. Conflict victims are still seeking justice. US and Taliban agree to truce, a new understanding likely to create lasting peace. And Machindra, crowned A-Division champion, wins the title for the first time. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.